Mark and Linda had been married for over 30 years. They had raised 2 children, built a life together, and now, in their early 60s, they were enjoying retirement. At least, that was the plan. But as any long-married couple knows, life doesn't always go according to plan. Their biggest challenge wasn't money, health, or even boredom. It was something they never expected: how to deal with their grandkids. Their son, David, had 3 kids: Alex, 12, Mia, 9, and little Noah, 5. Their daughter, Sarah, had 1 son, Ethan, 7. Every weekend, the grandkids would come over, filling the house with laughter, noise, and, let's be honest, chaos. Linda loved being the doting grandmother. She spoiled them with cookies, let them stay up late, and believed childhood should be about fun, freedom, and making memories. Mark, however, saw things differently. He had grown up in a strict household and raised his own children with clear rules and discipline. He believed their grandkids should show respect, clean up after themselves, and learn responsibility, even at a young age. One Saturday, after a long day of playing, Linda let the kids eat dinner in the living room while watching cartoons. Mark walked in and immediately frowned. "Linda, we never let David and Sarah eat in front of the TV when they were kids. Why are we letting the grandkids do it?" "Oh, Mark, it's just one meal. Let them enjoy it," Linda said, waving her hand. But Mark shook his head. "If we don't teach them good habits, who will? David and Sarah already have their hands full. We should be setting an example." Linda sighed. "Mark, we did our job as parents. Now we're grandparents. It's different." "That doesn't mean we should let them do whatever they want," Mark argued. And so the debate began. Over the next few weeks, their disagreements grew. Mark thought the kids should do small chores when they visited, help set the table, put away their toys. Linda thought they should just enjoy their time. Mark thought bedtime should be at a reasonable hour. Linda let them stay up late watching movies. Mark believed in teaching the kids about consequences. Linda believed in unconditional love and second chances. One evening, after the grandkids had left, Mark sat at the kitchen table, rubbing his temples. "Linda, this isn't just about bedtime or chores. It's about what kind of people they'll become." Linda sat down across from him, her face softening. "And I get that, honey. But don't you remember what it was like when we were raising kids? We were always stressed, always worried about doing everything right. Now, we have the chance to just love them. Isn't that a gift?" Mark sighed. "So, you think I'm too strict?" "I think you still see yourself as a father," Linda said gently. "But we're not their parents. We're their grandparents. And sometimes that means just being a safe, loving place for them to land." After that conversation, Mark started to see things differently. He realized Linda wasn't trying to undo their values. She was trying to make the most of this phase in their lives. So, they compromised. The kids could eat in the living room on some nights, but family dinners at the table were still a priority. They could stay up late on special occasions, but not every weekend. Instead of chores, Mark found ways to teach responsibility through fun, like having the kids help him fix things or take care of the garden. And in return, Linda agreed to back him up when he reminded the kids about manners or respect. One day, little Noah ran up to Mark and hugged him tightly. "Grandpa, you're the best." Mark chuckled. "Why's that, kiddo?" "Because you always teach me stuff," Noah said. "But you still let me have fun." Mark looked over at Linda, who was smiling at him from across the room. He smiled back. Marriage, parenting, was all about balance. And in the end, love was the only thing that really mattered. Mark and Linda's views on grandparenting weren't just about their kids or grandkids. It was about how they were raised. Mark had grown up with strict parents who believed in discipline and structure. Linda, on the other hand, was raised in a warm, affectionate home where childhood was about exploration and joy. Their differing approaches weren't just personal preferences. They were reflections of their past. Over time, they realized that understanding each other's childhood experiences helped them appreciate why they saw things so differently. One evening, while setting the table, Mia looked up at Mark and asked, "Grandpa, why do you and Grandma always argue about us?" The question hit him hard. He hadn't realized that their disagreements were visible to the children. That night, he and Linda had a long talk, realizing that their differences weren't just affecting each other. They were affecting their grandkids too. They decided that no matter what, they would present a united front in front of the children. During a family dinner, their son David gently brought up their disagreements. "Mom, Dad, I know you both mean well, but sometimes it feels like you're trying to prove who's right instead of just enjoying the kids." Their daughter Sarah added, "We don't expect you to raise them the way you raised us. We just want them to feel safe and loved when they're with you." That conversation made Mark and Linda reflect on their roles, not as second parents, but as grandparents, a role that came with its own unique responsibilities. Instead of seeing their different approaches as a problem, Mark and Linda started to embrace them as a strength. Mark became the one who taught the kids life lessons, how to fix things, how to be responsible, how to show respect. Linda, on the other hand, became the source of warmth and fun. One day, while playing in the backyard, Ethan told his mom, "Grandpa teaches me how to be a man, and Grandma teaches me how to love people." That was the moment they realized their differences weren't a weakness. They were a gift. One day, a close friend of theirs passed away unexpectedly. It was a wake-up call for both of them. Sitting on the porch that evening, Mark took Linda's hand and said, "We've spent too much time arguing over the little things. I just want to enjoy this time with you, with our family." From that day on, they made a conscious effort to focus on the joy of being grandparents, rather than the stress of doing it right. In the end, they understood that their legacy wouldn't be about rules or discipline. It would be about love, memories, and the impact they left on their grandchildren's hearts. One evening, when Linda was babysitting alone, the kids got a little too wild, jumping on the couch, refusing to go to bed, and leaving toys everywhere. Feeling overwhelmed, she finally put her foot down. "That's it. No more TV until this mess is cleaned up." To her surprise, the kids ate ahead. When Mark came home and saw order restored, he laughed. Well, look who's the strict one now." Linda realized that sometimes structure was necessary, just as Mark started seeing that a little flexibility wouldn't hurt. This unexpected role reversal helped them appreciate each other's perspectives even more. One Christmas, the grandkids made a handmade card that read, "Grandma and Grandpa, we love you because you're different, but love us the same." Mark and Linda were deeply touched. In that moment, they realized the kids never saw them as being in conflict. They saw them as two halves of the same heart. Their differences weren't a burden. They made their love richer. From then on, Mark and Linda stopped trying to change each other and embraced the fact that they complemented one another perfectly.